And we're back. And Haley, let's talk about our contest and specifically,
entries.
Talk about the entries.
Yeah.
No, that's what we want to talk about. And we'll tell you all about the contest. We have talked about it. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. We talked about it last week. We'll talk about it at the end because you can win something really cool just by voting.
Yes.
And I guess
super simple. And it's a huge prize. So.
Huge prize. You could win $1,000 worth of home improvement services.
From 5 different companies.
Plus
that are
RepcoLite.
Local. Yeah.
Yeah. So landscape design services.
Johnson Carpet.
Dean Veltman, professional painting contractor extraordinaire.
Ayers Basement Systems.
Lauren Figueroa, interior designer extraordinaire. Anybody else? I wasn't counting. RepcoLite. If we missed anybody, we really apologize. But we've got all of those prize packages. One voter is going to win, and we're going to draw that winner. We'll announce the winner on the show next weekend. Yep. The voting ends
November 3rd.
November 3rd at noon.
Yes, at noon.
At noon.
So turn off the commenting.
Right. So you've got a lot of options to go and vote. You can vote for your favorite transformation on Facebook, on Instagram, and at RepcoLite.com.
Exactly.
Okay. We'll explain a little more at the very end. Right now, let's talk about the entries because I don't know how you felt about it, Haley, but I've seen, watching these people send in these rooms that they've worked on.
Right, the before and afters.
It's been really fun.
I think it is really fun. There's a huge variety, for one, which I'm really happy about.
Yeah.
It could have just been a bunch of living rooms, and that's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
But I like that it's a variety of things. We've got basements, we've got kids' rooms, we've got kitchens, dining rooms,
even some
sheds.
Exterior stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to walk through each of these pictures. We're not going to name names, because that's not important. The big thing is to just talk about the transformation that took place and what we're seeing. And
all of them had the same budget.
Well, and that's one thing we want to point out. Yeah, the reason we've got 10 winners, if you haven't been following along, is we had a primary contest that ran first.
Right.
Which is why we call that the primary one. That's the one that ran first. And 10 people... a bunch of people sent us projects they were going to work on.
Yeah.
That was how you got entered into that. We drew 10 winners, and each one of those winners got $150 worth of Benjamin Moore paint to put to work in their project.
Yeah.
Now, some of these projects are way more expensive than $150 worth of paint.
Sure.
What we're voting on is the $150. The best use of that paint.
Yeah.
So let's look at the first one, the one that we've got on the website as number 1, not in quality necessarily,
just a number.
Numerically.
Yeah.
And it's a kitchen redo. And you've got to go and see this. If you are sitting at home looking at an 80s wood kitchen, like I am.
The oak cabinets.
I talk about it. I talk about how I hate my oak cabinets. And I talk about how I need to paint my oak cabinets.
And yet, here you are with oak cabinets.
Still have oak cabinets. And then this picture comes across. When I saw this on my email, when this person submitted the picture for the contest, oh, the guilt and the envy, I should say.
Because this person did this in 6 weeks. They got the paint, and they had 6 weeks to complete this project, and they got it done, and now they have a completely different kitchen.
It's amazing. I mean, the photo really makes the whole room look like a completely different space.
It really does. We had to parse it a little bit. Is this the same kitchen? Are they cheating?
My first thought was, this is so amazing. And I cannot believe, I work in this business. I talk about paint all the time. And when you see the transformation that was made, and, when you really look at the picture, you've got to go to RepcoLite.com, RepcoLite's Facebook, RepcoLite's Instagram.
Yeah.
Look at the pictures. And when you look at this particular kitchen, everything is the same.
Right. The countertop
is still the same, the backsplashes, the flooring, and yet the kitchen looks brand new.
Yeah.
Completely new. And they did it with $150 worth of free paint. And that's amazing.
It really is.
When you think about what that could look like. And we want to reach out. We want to get some of these people and see if they'll come on the air.
Because especially this one, I think, because it was potentially a fight between the husband and wife. She had really wanted these cabinets painted forever, and he kept shutting it down, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
And then this contest came about, and he was forced to.
He said that in the email. Now I'm forced to tackle this. Yeah. And the results are absolutely amazing. So go and check that out if you do have a kitchen.
Yeah.
And you're thinking you'd like to see once what a difference it can make. Well, here's a great way to see what a difference it will make.
And they did it themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely something to look at and think about. So another one, number 2 on our list, is an exterior shed. Well, most sheds,
I would hope,
are exterior. So we have the primary first contest and the exterior shed.
Yes, very specific.
Yeah. I am on a roll. This shed is really great. Now, the person who did the work, they sent the picture in and they said, hey, I basically just put the same colors back on it.
Right.
And before I looked at the pictures, she was saying it's really not that big of a difference. And then I pull up the pictures and, it's a big difference.
It's a big difference. The paint before had been peeling and chipping a little bit. So there's, raw wood that's showing.
A little bit.
Okay, a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be nice.
Well, we don't have to be nice. We're not being mean. It's just we're being honest.
Yes. It was a lot.
It looks better than my shed does right now. Their old one did. So mine is peeling. Man, I've got the kitchen problem. I've got a shed problem, both of which I've talked about and said I was going to fix.
And they're just staring you down right now.
They are. Yeah, the guilt just piled up with this one. But the person who sent this in talked about how this was a project that had been on their radar or on their plans for a while.
Yeah.
And again, the contest propelled them forward and they got it done. And the level of, I don't know. I'm guessing here. I'm kind of vicariously, I'm inserting myself into the situation. The amount of guilt and stress that goes away when you go from the before to the after has got to be huge, even though it's not a huge project. It's $150 worth of paint and some time.
And it's a small shed.
Yeah.
And the other thing about this one, especially being an exterior project, I think the guilt really goes away because it's something that other people can see when it's outside. It's not just you knowing that, I should really get to that bathroom project or
Haley.
Kitchen. All my neighbors can see.
I had not thought about that. Honestly, with my shed. So now I've got the guilt over what other people are thinking as well. Good thing.
I would have thought that was very present.
No, honestly, what I worry about is what's happening to the wood and the materials when it's not being protected. And that's where I thought you were going. But all of that goes away with this work. You've got to check that one out. Yes, the colors stayed the same.
But you can also see the level of fade that happens when you don't update colors, especially like the red that she has on the door.
Oh, yeah.
In the before picture, it's basically a pink at this point, and now it's back to that bright, rich red.
Yeah.
So these are things that have to be maintained over time.
Super cool. Number 3 is an upstairs room, I believe it was, right?
Yeah, it was like a kid's playroom.
Yeah.
But she did a lot here. And you have to kind of look through all the pictures to really see what happened because the color isn't dramatic.
Right. This one's a tough one to photograph.
Yes.
Because I think the way the room lays out from what we're gathering, there were a lot of pictures sent, but we only wanted to post one, kind of collage type picture. And so we chose the best we could, but it was still a big transformation. And so much of this one settled on organizational techniques. And I know with kids' rooms and stuff like that, that's a major thing at my house. It always has been, is just trying to keep it organized. And they did some really interesting things. I like the wire little baskets that they've got mounted on the walls now, like looks like books and
book racks,
like that.
Exactly.
That's really cool. And the colors really updated the space. It's a nice change.
Desk. It looks like a homework area now. I mean, it's really smart, the changes that they did make in here. And it definitely looks like a more open space because of the paint that they applied. Before it was kind of like a yellow and it split at the ceiling. And it's one of those dormer spaces. And I think we're used to having our wall color different than the ceiling color. So that's kind of what we naturally do. But in those spaces, it's really hard to break right there because you're so low on the wall, really. And it makes the space feel smaller. So by redoing
the same color on everything.
Yeah, it really helps.
They still have an accent wall at the end. So they still brought color in that way. But it does definitely open up the space. So that's a really interesting one. Number 4 is a kid's room. And this was a room where I believe, if I remember the story right, the son had lived with the before room for, I thought she said 13 years or something like that.
Right. This was like his childhood little kid bedroom. Yeah. The colors on the walls are, what you'd put in a toddler's room. And now he's a teenage boy.
And she kept him out of the room for the entire time that she did the work.
Yes.
And then she sent us a video of him walking through the room for the first time. And it's kind of fun. Again, that's not something we could end up posting, but he walked around the space and just kind of looked around And
Just in
Cindy
shock.
couldn't even recognize the room. But what a big difference that can make. Again, $150 completely changed the room and updates it for your kids.
And your feeling about it.
Right.
You know, I think that's a really important thing to talk about is just the feeling that paint colors provide. It's so much more than just like keeping up with trends and things like that. I think it has a part to play in self-esteem.
Well, right. And that's probably my problem. I never had the right paint colors. I would be a completely different person if I had just had parents who got me the right paint colors. Don't you think? Maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
We'll never know.
All right, we'll never know. It's lost to the ages. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got some other pictures and projects that we want to kind of pick apart in a positive manner.
Yes.
It's always positive on the RepcoLite Home Improvement Show. We save the negative for what we talk about in the breaks.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned. And we're back. And Haley, we're working our way through all the different projects, pictures that were posted as part of our big paint giveaway contest.
Right. These are the before and after pictures from our initial contest where people won $150 in Benjamin Moore paint. They had 6 weeks to redo the space they told us about.
Yeah.
And now you're voting on your favorite transformation. But we just wanted to take some time and talk about what they were able to accomplish all with the same budget.
Right. And you're voting not just because you're all altruistic and you care about others, which is really what everybody out there is like, but also because you can win stuff.
Yes.
3 voters are going to win $150 worth of Benjamin Moore paint. Random voters, we'll just draw them. And 1 random voter is going to win a $1,000 home improvement prize package.
Exactly.
We'll talk about that just a little bit more at the end. Right now, we just wrapped up talking about a kid's room. And I know I did want to go back to that one just briefly because one of the things that happened in that situation is the mom kind of locked her son out of the room.
Yeah.
And then he saw the big redo.
Yeah.
And sometimes that works.
Yes.
Sometimes that doesn't. How do you feel about that? I mean, I don't care about this one because it worked, but how do you feel about that concept in general?
I mean, personally, wouldn't have done well with that because I'm a control freak. From any age.
Yeah. It's funny. She really is.
So that's just in me. And I don't think I would have responded.
I think it's definitely something you got to know your people well.
Yeah.
Because it could go the wrong way. And you think you've done something amazingly fun and cool.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't always work that way. So sometimes it's really good to involve those other people. Now, in this instance, it was perfect.
Yeah,
so,
she did a great job.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. All right, this one. How would you describe it? I always say it wrong. It's mudroom.
It's like a mudroom entryway.
And a locker.
Yeah, they've got like the mudroom, and what's really popular right now in those spaces is to do those built-in kind of locker-looking shelves where you've got cubbies for everyone's backpacks and coats and shoe storage and some other, miscellaneous storage above.
All right.
Which I think is really smart. But
now, a lot of this one doesn't have a huge change either in, well, I guess the physical layout. Everything stayed pretty much the same. They changed the cubbies, the locker just a little bit.
Yeah.
But the color makes a big change here.
Huge. I mean, they had what used to be a really trendy color, like that nice charcoal gray with the white. And I think that was really popular, still is for a lot of people. Right now, what we're seeing the most is dark greens coming in as a really popular millwork color, cabinet color. And that's exactly what they've done to update the space is they've gone towards that really nice green that we're seeing a lot of right now.
Now, material-wise, product-wise, on a space like this, what would you recommend? We could go Scuff X from Benjamin Moore. That would be great.
100%.
Advanced from Benjamin Moore. Optima from RepcoLite.
Yeah.
Would be really good because a lot of people are painting spaces like this. It's a door, and it's that, like we said, that locker area, that cubby area.
Well, the wainscoting too, all the trim in there. And before too, I want to point out that they had separated the colors between the wainscoting, the locker, and the door. The door and the locker were the dark gray. The wainscoting was white. And it kind of broke up the space a little bit. I think it could potentially make it feel more closed in when you've got such high contrast in a small space.
Yep.
And now they've unified it by making the wainscoting and the cubby and the door all the same color.
Right. And they didn't have to change the wall color.
Right.
That worked out really well. So check that one out. That one's number 5. Very cool ideas even for storage and that little locker area. So definitely something to check out for that as well. Here's another fun one that's a lot. Basically, it's I was going to say a laundry room.
A laundry room?
No, it's a nursery.
Where do you put your babies?
Well, when I think about babies, I think about laundry because the two go hand in hand.
Okay.
Yeah, really. That's how it works.
Interesting.
Yep. Children create laundry. So when I see a nursery, I think laundry. That's how it works.
That's really funny.
This one is great because what they did, they did change the color on the walls. It looks like it was kind of a mossy green, very light green. And that's basically, it looks like a gray on my screen.
Yeah, super neutral.
Yeah, very
super
neutral.
light.
But what they did is right behind the crib, they painted a mural, and
it's really cute.
Well, it's a really cool mural. It's mountains. It's like a mountain range,
right? And
so the highest mountains, the mountains that are furthest away, are a lighter green.
Yeah.
The middle range mountains are kind of a medium tone green. The closest ones, the ones in the foreground,
the darkest
are the closest, and that's the darkest green. So 3 different colors.
Yeah.
Very, very simple.
Right.
I mean, it looks really artsy, and I'm sure, it takes talent to do it.
Yeah.
But it is something that's attainable, and
Absolutely.
you create something that looks like a really, really high-end professional mural very easily, really.
Well, all you have to do is find, the color that you really like, and you're just working down the paint swatch, essentially. You're starting with the light one, going to the next one down, and then the next one down, you've got your color scheme for a mural.
Yeah. Definitely cool, and it really changes the space. The other thing I really like about it is not only does it, really fill the space with great color, a great visual, it's also a visual that's not super baby.
Yeah, like that can grow with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you grow, it will work, right? It'll work with you. I mean, I guess as long as you're getting older, you're fine. I never really grew a whole lot. I got older. See, you don't go that way. Everybody I work with, constantly, nonstop, it's short jokes. And so I try to anticipate them.
Yeah, and I never really go there.
And you never go there. So you're always staring at me like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
No, I see, Haley, I'm short. If you didn't realize, I'm short. Let's get to a basement one. And this one's kind of fun because initially, the first before picture that they sent in was like a dungeon-y
cinder
basement.
block walls,
right?
All concrete.
And they were redoing their whole space, and that's what they sent us. And then what they've got is a brand new, drywalled and carpeted finished basement. Yeah. So it made the transformation seem enormous, which it was. I mean, absolutely amazing.
It is. It's a huge remodel.
What we're trying to vote on is the paint color, the paint change. So we asked for new pictures and got them. And you can still see what a difference paint makes, how it finishes a space.
It cleans it up. It just looks, like you said, finished, I guess, but it makes it look like a real space.
So definitely, that one's cool. They've also they haven't thrown. They have placed, delicately, a baby in the photo.
Yes.
And people
tugging
have
at
noticed.
the heartstrings.
Yeah. I know.
I like that.
Really smart, really smart. But before we move on from this one, let's talk about basement spaces. Not everybody can, go ahead and drywall everything and get all that set and make it into a space like this.
Right.
But just painting the block walls, I did that at my old house, and really I couldn't believe the difference that it made.
No, if they had just painted the cinder block walls, painted the floors, that would have transformed that space alone. They went way down the road and did a real remodel, but if they were just using the paint, I really think we would have seen a huge transformation regardless. Right.
I know that that happened with me with that cinder block basement. Paint-wise, if you've got moisture issues or stuff like that, that has to be addressed.
There are things to consider.
But if you've got a dry basement, cinder block walls, it's a latex paint.
Right.
You
super
really
simple.
Can make this really easy, and a light color will go a long ways towards making that space usable. I know when we did that, it went from feeling like a literal dungeon to a space where the kids, we put a playroom down there.
Right.
And they loved being down there. Who'd have thought? They did.
No, it's huge.
So definitely makes a big difference. All right, we're getting to the end. We're working our way through number 8.
Another basement.
Another basement space. This one, again, I don't know that you can see the big difference that took place. But
it's a big space. It's hard to represent it in photos.
Exactly. So we did our best to pick the ones that we thought showed the most. The big thing that they had going is, I think it was a daycare or something like that originally.
She did like in-home care, and they had a mural on the wall. It was like a tree, And they wanted to cover that up.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's not a daycare anymore, and it needs to be an adult space.
Right. And so that's what they use their paint to do. I'm interested to talk to them once this contest wraps up and the dust settles on everything, because painting over murals, we mentioned that mural in the nursery, painting over them can be a little bit of a trick.
It can be, because you can still sometimes see the ridges from that paint line under the new coat of paint, so you can still kind of see the ghost of that old mural.
Yeah, and a lot of times people are very concerned that the colors are going to bleed through or something like that, and normally colors aren't going to bleed through. They may show through. Bleeding through is a different scenario, different thing that's happening, but in most instances, if you're using good paint and you're putting on a couple coats like you should, the colors won't be so much the problem. It's the texture that you built up. And it can take a little bit of work to make sure that that goes away completely. So if you've got a mural in a space and you are thinking about painting that over, stop out at any RepcoLite or Port City Paints. Talk about it a little bit.
Yep.
We'll make sure that you go through all that work and you're happy with the results.
Yeah, just take some extra prep.
Exactly. All right, number 9. Come on, computer.
It's a dining room.
All right, thanks, Haley. My computer just caught up.
Yeah, another space that I'm glad with this one, they gave us a panoramic view.
Yeah.
That's nice. You can see the whole thing.
And you got to check this one out because it looks like completely different spaces.
It really does. The color makes a huge difference.
Now, do you like the original color?
I do.
It seems like kind of a Haley thing. It's a darker green.
Yeah.
How would you describe it? Not really darker green. That paints the wrong image.
It's like a mid-tone green.
There we go.
But
so a mid-tone green, but now it's kind of a grayish color.
Yeah, like a really light gray.
But really classes the space up. It was not classed down in the first one, but it really does.
It makes it look a lot more open.
Yeah, it's bigger.
It's what light does. They've got really great light coming in through those big windows they've got in the room. And to really accentuate that and have these lighter walls, it did make a huge difference.
Yeah, so check that one out. And that's it. I was thinking we had 10. We only had 9. That's right. So why do we talk about this? We talk about it because it's a contest and all of that. But I encourage you to go and check them out, not just for the contest. I mean, of course, go and check them out.
Yes.
Vote for your favorite.
Win.
And again, remember, you're voting for what you think is the best use of that $150 worth of free paint. And who knows, maybe you win. But these are great pictures to take a look at if you're thinking about different projects in your home. This may not look like your kitchen, for example, the kitchen project, but it's going to give you a really good idea of what a difference paint will make, or a dining room setting, or a basement.
It's all really realistic, too. These are just regular people that did DIY paint projects. This is very attainable stuff.
Yeah.
They're not professionals. These aren't people that are constantly posting as, influencer DIY on Instagram.
Gets old after a while,
right?
Because everything just looks so perfect and so staged.
Yeah.
And
this is just really real.
It is really real. And that's not to say that it's garbagey, right? Haley's not throwing any shade at anybody out there.
Dan might be right now.
Who knows? Who knows what Dan's doing? But yeah, these are just regular people. And I've interacted with them on emails as we're getting their pictures and doing this. And I know the stresses some of them felt as the time crunch was getting in. Yeah. And I know the relief that all of them have of not just getting it done and getting it in for the contest. First and foremost, just getting these projects crossed off.
Yeah, and
how
getting
good that
to
feels.
live with it.
Yeah. How fun that is. So definitely go and check them out. RepcoLite's Facebook page, RepcoLite's Instagram, RepcoLite's website, RepcoLite.com. You can find these pictures, vote on them, and maybe get inspired for your next project. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about, do we know what we're going to be talking about?
Laundry.
Is it going to be laundry? Is it not going to be laundry? I don't know. We're going to all find out together just ahead. Stay tuned.